BLAPCHAT, 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 BLAPCHAT. Boom, boom, boom.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yes.
That's intense.
Hey.
That's intense.
That was like for
The
world
very-
was coming
three
to
of
an
us.
end. The world came
That
to
was
an
like
end.
oh, final episode.
Debris was falling down for 8 hours.
Yeah, I think I felt
and we were standing there like this
definitely felt like some shrapnel on my neck from that.
for mad fucking long, like
Right.
bad explosions.
Atomic
and shit.
bomb.
That was bad. That was bad.
That was-
Kim Jong-un is here. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Shout to North Korea. Welcome to BLAPCHAT episode 78.
Yep.
I go by the name of Illmind. Brat. This is BLAPCHAT. You already know?
No.
Oh, wait, hold up.
Booty. But shout out to Illmind, great producer. Save that shit for Illmind podcast.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Joe. This is BLAPCHAT episode 78. Once again, I go by the name of Illmind. Here are my amazing co-hosts.
Glam.
Hey.
Good lyrics and music. How goes it?
How goes it?
How goes it?
Some snacks over
Who's
here.
this handsome fellow over here?
Yo, what up? That was the plug. One word, that was the plug. Google me.
Atlas.
He said Google me.
Atlas like the world.
We have
the
another.
world.
We have another co-host,
world.
Perfection. She couldn't be here today. She's
Yeah.
working. You know, she's working
She's
things.
grinding.
Grinding.
Grind.
Malibu Beach.
Malibu Beach.
Josh has a shirt on that says Malibu Beach on it.
And I say beach in sheets. and
beach.
Malibu Beach.
And it literally says Malibu Beach.
Malibu Beach.
Oh man, today is blush day. Me and Glam matching. Hold on, let's stand up real quick.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Salmon day?
Salmon.
Salmon day.
Salmon.
Alice, you got some salmon on a little bit?
You got some
Alice
salmon?
got seaweed pants.
No, he got some carne
green.
asada.
He got some carne
Got some
asada.
green, some oranges.
Guacamole.
Yeah, you got a little gumbo going
Cucumber
on.
water.
A little cucumber water.
A little
Gumbo.
spring, summer
Some
vibes.
ground
Spring
turkey.
vibe.
You know?
Yep.
Ground turkey.
Well, we here, man.
black beans.
Episode 78. We've been kind of sporadic with the episodes because it's summertime. You know,
shit's
there's
going
a
down.
lot of scheduling and all that stuff. But we're here and we're happy to be here, man. It's been a long time, so definitely a lot has happened in the past week. I feel like we looked over a few things. But there's let's start with some music. There was some great music that dropped recently. Atlas is saying J-Rock is still his favorite of the year.
Hands down, J-Rock's album right now. It's the earliest album
Yeah,
of
we're
the year
just
for me,
talking about
personally.
it.
The
Yeah.
album is fire, front to back, every record. Like the sequence on it
Yeah.
is dope. You know,
Yeah.
so it's still on my playlist.
Yep. Shout to
know?
all the producers that are on there too. I think Cardo's on there, Dahi,
Soundwave.
Soundwave. Who else is on there? A couple other guys, but shout to all the producers that are on the album. TDE's having a hell of a run so far. I feel like every year they're doing stuff. So shout to them.
Schoolboy's coming, right?
Schoolboy is coming for
Schoolboy's
sure. And then there were some good releases that just dropped. Did you guys hear Chance's new songs?
I did
Chance the
not.
Rapper?
I did not.
I skimmed over him. I still got to sit with him, but I liked what I heard for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, he's in his Chance bag, and I think it's been a while since he dropped music, right?
Right.
Like
Man.
a couple years, I think.
I can't even remember the
Yeah,
last joint he dropped.
yeah, it's been a minute, but sounds like Chance is back. So shout to Chance. What else dropped?
Wiz.
Wiz,
Wiz
yes,
dropped.
that
I think
Rolling
we should dive
Papers
into
fire.
that.
Yo, go get that Rolling Papers 2 album is fire. Shout to my man TM88, 808 Mafia. He did a bunch of stuff on there. Shout to Sledgerin too. Sledge did a bunch of shit on there, man. I really want to work with him, man. He's dope. So shout to Rolling Papers 2, Wiz with the drop. Some other
Fab?
there's a bunch of stuff. Fab dropped a new
Fab.
song.
I mean, we're not gonna
Yup.
count it, but you know, Drake. But that's what I've been listening
Drake,
to.
yeah, Drake Scorpion is still
Yeah.
in
I
the
like it.
in the streams.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's a good album, man. Good
Man,
album.
Oh,
I've
and
seen
it-
that. I've seen that Keisha dance, the thing.
Oh
Kiki.
yeah, it's all over.
Kiki,
Yeah.
for so many times. I know the dance now. I've seen it that many
That
times.
many times.
I'm not gonna do it, but I'm saying
I did it.
I
I
you
did it
know.
over the
the
weekend.
Carters
Let's see it.
too.
Let's
The,
see it,
the
yeah.
Carters. That's a good album.
Kiki, do you love me? Are you right?
My own version. My own version. Carter's album.
That
Yup,
Carter's
Glam.
album's
Yup.
good.
Carter's album is really good. Shout to J and B. Shout to the Beehive.
The Beehive.
Excuse me. Yeah, so man, a lot to talk about. I'm coming back, or I just came back from the Bay.
Hey.
I was in the Bay, Blair's hometown. I didn't get to go to Oakland. I really wanted to go to Oakland.
It's okay. Just make sure you mob deep.
Yeah, I should. So I went to Seattle first. I did my Pass the Aux event. For those of you who don't know, I've been traveling to different cities every month and sitting with upcoming producers. I basically choose like a secret studio location, and I invite 20 or so upcoming music producers, and there's some artists who come through to the studio, play me some music, do some constructive criticism, and answer questions and vibe out and network. It's just a really, really dope event. We filmed the whole thing, so you can watch all the footage from that stuff on my YouTube channel, Illmind Vision. But yeah, so I went to Seattle first, and then we were in the Bay, and so I did 2 nights in San Francisco. And the first night I went, I didn't realize that people from San Francisco don't like referring to it as San Fran, right? Is that true? Like, it's kind of like locals don't really fuck with San Fran. It's like SF or the Bay. Frisco, the Bay, right? Or not really?
Yeah, I've only heard Frisco. Nobody knows. Goes like, are you going to San Francisco or San Fran?
San Fran is like a no-no, apparently.
Or they just like, you going over the bridge.
Yeah, so I fucked up. Anyway, I fucked up and I said, yo, what up, San Fran? And I was
like, boo.
No, they didn't boo me.
I'm just kidding.
Like, what up, San Fran?
Wait, that wasn't the reaction I wanted.
San Fran!
Yeah. But yeah, no, San Francisco, the Bay, it was crazy, man.
Fire.
I think this was one of the cities I went to, right, Josh, where there's like a legit signature sound. Like, there's like literally a Bay sound, like a Northwest sound that like you can't really match. Like all the other cities I've been to, there's been like kind of a gumbo of sounds. Like you have some trap shit, you have some boom bap shit, you have soulful stuff. But like out in San Francisco, like there was a consistency with the beats, and I just thought that was super dope, man. And there's so much talent out there, like upcoming talent that are like under the radar that are killing it. Like this kid Pilo, he's a Filipino kid. And he's a rapper, and like I look at his videos and he's got like 6 million views, 5 million views, and like they're killing it in the Bay. So shout to San Fran, man. I had a really good time. Shout to all the producers that came through. And again, I'm going to some different cities as well. So if you want to come link with me, if I'm in your city, go to my website, illmindproducer.com. I'll be in New York. I'll be in Miami. Toward the end of the year, we're doing Cleveland, or actually we did Cleveland. We're doing, no, did we do Cleveland, Josh? No, so we're coming to Cleveland. We're doing, what do we do? What are we doing? What else do we have left? Chicago.
Down.
Miami. Damn. Wow. Yeah, it's in the post. It's in the post. Go to illmindproducer.com. Yeah, check my schedule. So that's going to be a good time. But, yeah, man. What else has happened?
The weather out in the Bay is crazy.
The weather's crazy.
The weather. It's supposed to storm tomorrow.
Oh, no.
Is
That's
it
going
really?
to be bad.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's going to rain all
It's
fucking
gonna
week.
rain. Do I have any? Oh shit.
What's tomorrow?
That's going to
Saturday?
suck. That's going to
It's cool
suck.
though.
Yeah,
Fine.
no.
I'll be outside for a little bit.
Yeah,
so.
no. That's going to be whack. But
Yeah.
shout out to all the producers that are doing it, man. So, you know, if this is your first time tuning in, I mean, most of you guys already know what's up. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a music creator. You're most likely a music producer. But this is, you know, a music production podcast. So we like talking about everything and anything music production. So, yeah, I mean, I think we're living in interesting times in terms of being a music producer. There's like, you know what I'm noticing? Like, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but just looking online, I'm noticing there's like kind of like a divide happening where you have like all these, I guess you want to call them like internet producers, you know, the type beat producers, the ones who are on YouTube selling beats and all that stuff. And then you have like the industry producers who are like getting placements and shit. And I'm noticing there's like a divide, but what I'm realizing is that like none of that shit matters. Like, it's all just bullshit categories, right? Because like anyone if you're a music producer and you're generating income, I feel like that's always going to be a positive thing, right? I mean, Atlas, you've had like a pretty strong opinion on like what a producer should do, like if they're just starting. But there's this misconception that like if they sell beats for like $20 or 30 or $40, like that they're like corny or people look down on them, you know. And I've definitely have like said that in the past where it's like, you know, I disagreed with like taking that route and being content with it. But like, what do you think of that in terms of like a new producer? Do you think they should immediately start like selling beats and generating income?
Listen, if you're doing it and it makes you happy and you're generating an income and you're making money, keep doing it. You know what I mean? That's totally up to you.
It depends.
I don't have a problem with that. Yeah. I mean, the problem I was kind of having with the whole thing is, you know, producers putting out tracks and for, you know, like buy 2 get for 3 free for like $5, but then not only are they devaluing it that way, but also when they just put them out and they don't even care. You know, that was kind of the thing that kind of like irked me a little bit. It's like, I don't care what happens with the track. I just want to make it real quick and have it go. But listen, if you're generating 6 figures or more or 80,000, whatever you are a year, and you're happy and you want to do that, cool, do it. It's not my cup of tea. Like if I was a producer in the game now, I would want to be with upcoming artists. I'd want to be in a studio rat. I want to be a studio rat. I want to go to the shows. I want to meet other producers and kind of go that route, you know. But if that's working for you and you're happy with it, do it. I mean, that's not the way I would go about it, but it's worked for a small amount of people. You know what I mean? But you know, if you're happy, do it. And listen, at this point, it's just another opportunity, which is a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just another way to get in the game. That someone before the internet, there was no such thing as a type producer.
Yep.
There was no such thing as that. You had to be in the studio with the artist and the management team and the label and all that and network and all that shit. But now you can just be in your room with a pair of headphones, cranking out beats, and this opportunity for you to get your name out there on YouTube and all the, you know, via type beats. If that works for you, cool. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Do it. You know what I'm saying? But I get more thrill, me personally, out of like creating and with other artists and being in the room with them or at least working with other people, whether it's remotely or in person.
Right. And there's no reason to not do all of it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. Like while you're doing that, if you want to make some money and, you know, and you're paying your rent and paying your cell phone and your Metro card, do it.
But it's also, it's a perspective thing too, because if I'm new, if I'm up and coming and I know that that's an option and I don't know, let's say, like, it's not even a double-edged sword, because if you really think about it, you have to get better anyway. So let's say this is a person who is in like a butt-fuck town, who doesn't have resources, no friends, none of his friends do music, you know, the nearest so-and-so is over here, I make X amount of dollars, everything against him. If he has internet or Wi-Fi, he could put those beats online and he could practice and he can get better and he could make money at the same time. And then, you know, that could come an opportunity from there. But I think it's also right too, like, it's the quality. If you decide to do that, you have to, like, I think that's the only way. Most of those people that we've interviewed, a majority of them are like, even, you know, who knows how many more out there, but we've interviewed a few, and then like it's always these, like, the quality of the beats were like really on point. So that's like, I think people have to really pay attention to that. Don't just think you're gonna put a beat online and, like, you know, Tekashi's gonna see it and like hit you up. Like,
and that's another thing too, like that's happened a few times.
Exactly.
But it's happened a few times out of a million transactions. So it's like all of a sudden these producers think like, oh, well, like,
that's how I do it.
That's how you do it. You just do it on YouTube. And you can get some sales and generate income.
That's one thing.
But man, the odds of like a Menace happening again or a Tekashi Kuda happening again, you know, like with Concept P, are so slim.
Oh yeah.
It's not to say that you shouldn't try it,
Right.
but that isn't the end all be all.
Do everything. And listen, and I totally believe in this, even if nobody knows who the fuck you are. Because people say, well, I don't want to put my stuff because no one knows who I am, so I don't want to put it out on Apple Music. It's like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah.
It's like, if I was producing a instrumental project right now, I'm going right to DistroKid or getting a distro deal or doing it through whatever. I'm putting it out on every freaking platform. That I'm putting it out on YouTube as well. I'm putting it out on SoundCloud. I'm putting it out on my Instagram, because there's people that listen on Tidal, you know, all that. So there's people that just listen to Tidal that don't listen to Apple. There's people that just listen to Apple that don't listen to Spotify. There's people that only go to SoundCloud. So it's like, if you're only putting it on SoundCloud, I'm like, damn, why doesn't anybody fuck with me? I put my stuff on SoundCloud. It's because you're only putting it on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
You're missing out on millions and millions of listeners that can accidentally, randomly pop up on your track because it happened to be on an Apple playlist. And you just never know.
Yep.
But by not doing that, you're shooting yourself in the foot. They're like, oh, nobody knows me. I don't think I should be doing that. You're stupid.
Everything.
And also, too, what you're doing by doing that is you're building your catalog. So what that means is, if you continue to do that same process, a year or two down, 3 years down the road, when you actually do create a buzz and people do know who the fuck you are, and you got
they'll find all your shit.
What are they going to do? They're going to go back and look you up, and you own all your own shit, and they're going to go cop all that shit.
Yep.
So why not start now?
That's facts. You know what? And to add on to that, so when I was doing my Pass the Aux event a couple of days ago, someone asked me a question like, you know, how do I like market my stuff and get my stuff out there? And I know we've mentioned this in the past on the podcast, but when you look at what's happening now in 2018 and what's been happening for a few years compared to 2002, let's say, where the only real place to get exposure would be to be on TRL or to like have a video on MTV or to be on like Hot 97 or be on like broadcast radio. That was the only way that people were listening to music. Or, you know, if you were an independent artist and you got your CD, like 5 copies of your CD and like, you know, Sam Ash or like FYE, that was like or like the independent like stores, right?
Or the tapes.
Because that's where people, that's where the attention was. That's where people acquired music.
Mom and pop shops.
The mom and pop shops. And I actually kind of miss those days because that was kind of fun. But, you know, that was how you did it. But now you can literally just reach hundreds and thousands of people with this little device, this little phone here. And you have this like community of producers who probably could have like really good success, and because they're so talented and probably have like really good beats, but they're not doing anything and not going out of their way to like post shit online. Like and to post your stuff online is damn near free. You know, so
and the main reason you hear, which is the stupidest thing, I don't want to post it online because I don't want nobody to steal it.
Yeah, no, that's the worst.
Let them steal it.
Yep.
Go steal it.
Yeah.
Go make it a smash hit on the radio. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait about a year or two before I start coming after you.
Yeah.
I want it to get really big.
Exactly.
So go steal it, please. Go steal my shit.
Exactly. There's this like
I have documents.
Yeah. No, exactly, Glam. Like, listen, guys. And at first, you're probably thinking, "What the fuck are they talking about? They're crazy. I don't want anyone stealing my music." Blah 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 blah. Well, here's the thing. Here's a scenario. You're an upcoming producer, and let's say you have like a bunch of beats uploaded on YouTube, and some random artist steals your beat, rips it, makes a song, they shoot a video, they put it on their YouTube, they put it on SoundCloud, blah blah blah. Their song that they illegally made on your beat gets 1,000 plays on SoundCloud. No one cares because it's not really generating a significant amount of income, and it's really not that many people that are paying attention to it. And that might multiply that might happen like 10, 15, 20, 50 times. 50 different artists steal your beat, whatever, and they're all kind of floating. They're not really gaining any numbers, and then that's it. And then a couple months go by and no one cares, right? But then let's say in that scenario one of those tracks blows up. Let's say all of a sudden this rapper or artist that stole one of your beats puts a song out, and it gets 3 million streams on Spotify, well, you have a viral track. You have a track that's like kind of buzzing, that's getting a little momentum, and so that beat was illegally ripped from you. So now you have an opportunity to contact that person and say, yo, like, I made that beat. And as long as you can prove that you made it, then you're in good hands. That's the thing. It's like, as long as you can prove that you made the track, then you have a fighting chance. You can hire an attorney, you can sue them, or I wouldn't sue them, but I would hire an attorney and inquire with them and say, yo, that's my track, I can prove I made it, let me get my publishing, let's get the paperwork going, and let's go. And then now all of a sudden you have like a potential hit record in your hands that you produce. So it's a win-win, like the ones that steal your shit and never go viral, those will go away and they'll be irrelevant.
Then it also has the ability to backfire too. It has the ability to backfire, but only on a higher level. On a higher level.
I mean, as long as you can prove that you made it, and you can prove to a jury in court that you made the track.
And the way you prove it is by showing them the session.
Yeah.
Right. No, that too. But how about when it's opposite? When that shit that Pharrell and Robin Thicke went through. Well, I mean, that was an interpolation, granted. Yeah. But I don't believe it was a fair case.
No, I don't think it was either.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think it was either. I think that's different because that's more like not clearing a sample.
Yeah.
But this is more like
putting your
beat. True, this is taking your shit and taking
this
it.
This is I'm an unknown producer and you stole my beat.
And it's your beat. Yeah. It sounds the same.
This is your thing.
But I do agree though, speaking of that, like that lawsuit definitely shouldn't have happened.
I didn't agree with it.
No,
I didn't think it was
not
right.
at all.
I think they just had the right
not
lawyers.
At all.
But I had fights with my friends. They didn't understand because they weren't producers. So they didn't. They're like, "That's their beat." Like, wow. And I was like, "No, it's not.
It's not.
It's not. Pharrell is just amazing. That's all."
Exactly.
Yeah.
Someone also asked me. I love talking about like the upcoming producer stuff because there's so many like questions, and you would be surprised how like simple the solutions are. But you know, if you're an upcoming producer, like you don't have any resources to like learn about this stuff. Like there's no like school or like tutorial or ebook. Like there's a few resources online for sure, but a lot of this stuff you don't learn unless you experience it on your own, right?
Yeah.
So someone was asking me the other day, how do I know when it's a good time to start increasing my beat prices?
How?
What do you mean? How?
How do I know when it's a good time?
I know when you get more than one. When start with the first one. Let's start with that.
Start with the first one.
No, seriously, I think when you're first starting, I mean, listen, when we were in high school and stuff, you're slanging beats for like $100. You know what I'm saying? Like early.
Some people say 50.
You know, or 50, right? You know what I'm saying? But I think once you, that's a good question. I'm gonna say once you've sold about 10 beats, you know, I'm feeling like 500's a good number to.
But not
to
10 over
with.
like the course of a year, like 10 in like a month.
Pretty consistent.
10,
when you start getting consistently.
10.
And I was gonna say not even necessarily a number, but more so when it starts getting consistent, because
right,
then your
when
time,
it starts coming in,
it's your time.
Exactly.
Like now you're cutting into my time.
When
so
they start cutting,
and
then when they start cutting in more into your time, you charge more.
Yeah.
That's exactly. I literally just went through that, like just because the person that I do this project with, they were gonna need it at a certain time. It was like, well, damn, I got other shit going on. So now it's like, I normally would give you that love, but because when you need it, I have to like.
Right.
So that's kind of when you know, like, you know, when you start not being able to not have time, not because you're busy, but because like you're making so many.
Yeah.
I think it was when you're making so many beats. So don't put a number on it. I wouldn't put a number, but at 10 was my mental.
Yeah.
Me
too.
I mean, 10 seems pretty reasonable. Like if you get to the point, let's say you're charging $50 a beat,
right?
Yeah.
And you end up selling, like what Glam said, you sold 10 last month, and you're anticipating to sell like more than 10 this month. Then if you can sell 10 beats in 1 month at $50 a pop, then it might be time to increase a little bit. Maybe go up to $70 or 65, or
70.
maybe even 100, double it. I don't know. And then you have to kind of gauge like there's a whole science to pricing.
And then
like,
also too
right
the,
at like
the bundle deal. The
That's
bundle
all I was
deal.
gonna say.
Yup.
3 for
Like if you're
I
really
used to do
starting
the
to get
bundle
busy,
crazy.
like if I'm charging you like, let's just say we're starting small numbers. Let's just say $100 a beat, right?
Yeah.
So if we're slanging, and we're in high school, we're slanging them for about 100 a beat, and you've already bought 2 or 3 from me, and you're like, yo, I want more. So then like maybe what you do is you'll do
like a 10-pack or something.
No, I would say like a 5-pack, right? So if you're doing a 5-pack, be like 5 for $3.99.
I was gonna say $3.50.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
5 for $3.99. Because if you're gonna pay $3.50, you're gonna pay $3.99.
Yeah.
But that's basically getting an extra beat, buying 4 and get 1 free.
Right, but
Yeah,
you're
buy
getting
one
them all
free
lump
shit.
sum all at once. You're
right.
not waiting for
Yeah.
$100, $100,
Oh, yeah,
$100.
no.
It's it's so interesting because
And once you start slanging those,
Yeah.
then you really bump your price up, like
yeah.
probably 200.
And I wanted
you know.
to touch on something because I think also, from different era, like that generational like difference thing, like where hip hop, it was obviously more about collaborating, being creative, and being a part. It's like more of a momentous thing. Now it's like you can send an email and like kind of just like get it done. But when you consider how fast these kids are making these beats now, it's almost not really like anything you can knock. Like I've seen these kids, they don't even use keyboard. They use the keypad on the Mac half the time, and they're making remixes, transitions, all types of shit easily, like making 5-10 beats in 8 hours. So when you think about it like that, it's just like, well, shit, yeah, you probably should put those up if you got it like that, because what are the odds that you're gonna be able to get all those beats out to like whoever the fuck
That's
who
true.
might know somebody? You might as well
That's
put
true.
them shits up and sell them.
And you have to always think about each beat that you make as just like a random lottery ticket that might end up somewhere.
Pretty much.
It's like you can't. I think there's some producers out there, and I was guilty of this too. Like back then when I was first starting, like I would make like 10 beats, and then I would like save like 5 of like the ones that were my favorite, and then the other 5 I'd be like, oh, I'll just sell these to whoever, but these 5 are like the ones, and then I would hold on to them, and then like 2 years go by and they're still on my hard drive, and by then I have like
New
100
sounds,
more
yeah.
better
Everybody
ones.
got them ones.
So it's like I don't know. I
gotta
feel like you
know
have
when.
to have this mentality of like I'm always gonna make new shit.
I agree,
You know what I
because
mean?
I've done it too. I have
Yeah.
so many beats like that where I'm like, I gotta save this, and then it's just like you start thinking about what am I saving? This is actually like the time to
Right now.
pull all of that shit out right now. Like obviously, beats like strategic in a way still, but like still knowing like, okay,
Yeah,
Listen,
it's true.
We talk about it all the time when your beats go to the hard drive cemetery, right?
The hard drive.
The
stuff.
hard
just
because
sitting there like,
because it's the same thing with being an art. It's the same thing I feel as being an artist is the same thing with a producer when you're producing a track. And what I mean by that is when you're creating it and you're creating at such a pace and you're like in your fucking bag. You know what I'm saying? You're in the studio. You're knocking out 2-3 songs a night, front to back. You know what I'm saying? The mixes are sounding good. You just got to be able to let it go. Just let it go. Just put it out. Just go and let it put it out. Because if you don't, what happens is exactly what Il just said and what you were talking about. You're saving it. You're saving it for what?
For what?
Because you don't know. Like you think you're saving it for this special moment. You don't know when the special moment's going to happen. It just happens.
you really don't.
Nope.
Okay.
But I will say, in addition to that, you can increase your amount of special moments by increasing the people you know.
Yeah. Facts.
I
Go to,
mean,
like, seminars
there's
and shit.
there's so many like there's producers out there who like don't put any effort into like meeting people and are only just like 99% of the time making beats, going online, selling them, make more, sell more, and that's fine. That's totally fine. But if you really want to take it to that level and you really want to start getting like the publishing deal and like the bigger placements and stuff, it's like do both.
Yeah. You have
Do
to connect
both.
with
Like,
people.
but you have to create like a schedule and really create a game plan. It's like, all right, this week I'm spending 5 days in the studio. I think I could probably make 5 beats per day. That's 25 beats this week. That's 100 beats this month. Out of those 100 beats, I'm going to sell 50 of them online at 100 a pop. Right? That's $5,000, I think, right? So I'm going to make 5 G's this week, 5 stacks, and then the other 50 beats, I'm going to get my homies to rap on them. I'm going to work with artists that I'm developing. I'm going to try to send them to any industry people I know. You know what I mean? So you really have to be like, you have to create a fucking like regimen. You can't just like randomize it and wing it. You know what I mean?
Top of that, on what you said is, okay, let's take what you said. 5 days a week, 5 beats a day, right? That's 25 beats a week. If you did 2 full beats a week, that's still, in my opinion, great.
Yeah.
Okay?
I agree.
So let's say out of those 5 days, let's say we make it 4 days a week. Still 2 to 5 beats a day, which is still very impressive. And then on that 5th day, instead of sitting home and making beats all day, you find a day to go out to an event. Just 1 day a week. Okay, so now you're doing 4 events a month. Now imagine if you're doing that formula and your shit is dope, you're gonna win. Or at least be headed in the right direction. Because you have to network, you have to go out, you have to meet people, you have to do it. As much as you hate it, people are like, I don't know, I don't like going out. Well, good luck.
You don't like being successful, because that's what it's gonna take.
Yeah,
you have to go out.
It.
Yeah.
And then the thing is, you're gonna be tired. You're gonna wish, oh God, I'm so tired. Oh, I got work tomorrow morning. Oh, I got this. As soon as your ass is there, or even better, when you get your ass home, and it's maybe a little later than you probably would stay up to make beats, but when you get home and you like had that experience and you got like 3 or 4 key contacts that you just randomly ran into that night, that you were just thinking, damn, I needed someone to ask about management or artist to work with or a studio in the area because I need another studio to go to, and boom, you're gonna meet him at that event,
right?
And it's gonna be totally worth it. And then you start like getting addicted, like to miss you don't want to miss out. Like, was it FOMO, fear of missing out?
Yeah, FOMO.
You start getting that. Like I'm gonna be honest, I get that sometimes. Like I'm like, I know this event's going on. It's like, man, I don't really want to go. But I'm like, I know I should totally go. And then I go, and I'm so happy I went. Yeah. Because I'll make that 1 or 2 contacts, or even just one that I'm going to follow up with them, tomorrow or this week, and follow up on that. And then just keep doing that.
It's true. And, I think the biggest challenge is like that producers face is like, oh, well, if I go to an event, I'm a nobody. No one knows me. So how do I even start conversation with someone? You got to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. But the interesting thing that I discovered, and this was like from my own experience, was when I was like first starting and like no one knew me, I didn't have a name, it was like whatever. I realized that I was giving people an opportunity to find out about me in a different way, other than me going up to them and saying hi. And for a music producer, for me, it was producing for like an El De Sensei, like a super underground rapper. And then, another rapper who works with him found out I produced one of his songs, and then I ran into him and they're like, oh, I heard one of your joints. Right. I heard your name before. Right. And to me, I feel like that's a really, really great strategy, is to do things that will create exposure elsewhere that will get these people to find out about you somewhere else, because that's the key. It's like when we meet people, it's like, all right, well, like, where have I seen that name before? Or like, I've heard of you before. Right. And that immediately like increases their chance of wanting to talk to you. So the hardest part is like creating that initial momentum first, but it starts with like maybe like a little mixtape appearance here, and then someone tweeted about your shit here, and you know what I mean? It's like with the internet, it's a lot easier to start creating a buzz and start like putting your name out there. It really, really is, man. So I don't know, I just think that's like such an important like part of this too.
100%. I'm literally, when you were talking about that, I was thinking in my head about Instagram.
Yeah, like you. Okay, you, for instance, right? Yeah. Like, obviously, me and you started working heavily together, like, heavily, like, what, 2013, probably, right? Yeah. Or 14, something like that.
But knowing you, obviously, before that.
We knew each other before that.
Right, yeah.
When you started, like, really being out there and, like, starting to meet, like, a lot more people and started making, like, those types of moves, right? Do you feel like it happened to you too, where it was like, oh, I heard of you, Atlas, from this thing, or oh, I saw you here somewhere? Okay.
it was a slow process, you know, like in the beginning, you know, when people knew me, it was like, oh, you're Illmind's. Like it went from like, oh, you're Illmind's guy, right? Like, you know, Illmind, like they knew me and you, like they didn't know what it was, but they knew me and you were like, that you were my guy, right? So they went from that. Then it was like, oh wait, are you like the Beat Thread? Like they knew me from Beat Thread, you know, you the Beat Thread guy. And then it went from like, oh, the Beat Thread guy, and then like, oh wait, BLAPCHAT, and then so it's like, and then it's like, you know, oh, True Masters thing. So it's like now people are starting to see me more as like the brand and like you know, the guy who curates events, and he knows like all these different people, and he kind of puts the pieces together, right? But I mean, like you said, what, 2012? Yeah, we've been working. So what do we 20? So that's already, you know, 6 years of everyday grinding, you know, and even before, you know, me working with Ill, I was doing music like fresh out of high school, auditioning, and you know, so like this has been a long time coming, but I would say I started noticing, feeling a different vibe within the past like year and a half to 2 years, year and a half or so, was when people are kind of like, yo, your name, oh, Atlas the Plug, oh, you're the guy who does the inspirational quotes on Instagram, like, oh, dude, I love your shit. Like, I screenshot it, I save it on my phone. Like,
everyone has a point of entry of when they heard your name. Or where.
Right, exactly.
Clam, do you experience, I'm sure you've experienced that too. Like, oh, I saw you on
when I was in the Bay.
I heard this.
I don't know if I told Glam. Sorry to cut you off. When I was in the Bay, and I did a like a Cali meetup thing, right, with producers and artists. And one of the guys was like, yo, BLAPCHAT is like, yo, Glam, like they were talking about you in the Bay, and I'm sitting there like, oh, Glam's like my people, like, are you like, that's my girl. So anyway, so when did you start?
Shit, I don't know really. I mean, like my name was always Glam, and then I think it started probably more so with like licensing opportunities, just like things that like really gave me exposure and like being able to put my name on certain festivals. Like it just really started to be a word of mouth thing, and I think that just came with like the quality of the music. So certain people just started hearing it, certain places, oh, so and so showed me, or I just came to your Instagram. Like it's just like one reason or another, like people are drawn in. But it is like a strike to a match type of thing. Was like it does take like a few people, you know, all at once, probably in all different areas and points in time simultaneously, to be, you know, kind of talking about you to get that. And I would say, you know, playlisting too, you know, as far as like just anything music related to like up your shit, like even SoundCloud, everything, Spotify, everything, and getting playlisted. They like go to your page, they go to your profile, and everything's there. So I got a lot of like Instagram love from that. Like,
and you wouldn't be able to have that 10 years ago. You know, we have our profiles are online. Like everything and anything you want to know about someone, you can find online. You can
find out.
Facts.
So like if someone is listening to this podcast and they're like, oh, I never heard of Glam before, and they're talking about her music, let me go look her up. First place they're going to look is probably your Instagram. They're going to Google you, Glam. They're going to look at this. They're going to run to SoundCloud. You know, and this is what most people do. They'll check for you.
I had a question for you when you're talking about Elder Sensei and how, you know, that was like your first kind of little break before someone was like, hey, you're the guy who did the... How did you and L link, you and Elder Sensei? How did that happen?
I had a DJ friend who... So, you know, being Filipino, being from Jersey, big, huge, like, DJ culture. All the Filipinos in Jersey were, like, DJs and shit. And so I had a DJ friend, and he knew a DJ that worked with Elder Sensei. And he heard my beats. He heard about me and heard my beats, and we eventually linked up, you know? And so it was like a Jersey thing. It was, like, very tight-knit. It was, like, that was when it was, like, Elder Sensei and just like a bunch of underground like rap shit.
Did you like go to the studio when he was there and you played
studio,
beats?
Yep, I did all that shit.
He's like, yo, I like that one. You started writing to it on the spot and all
like
that.
I got my momentum early on from just working with like friends who made music. You know, and like that's how you get your first momentum is like finding other people who also do it. And I think that's a
true.
huge.
And might have a little more going on with you.
And might have a little more
going on
So
than
true.
you.
Yeah.
Does not hurt.
It doesn't hurt. And
true.
listen,
Not at all.
like I think that's the number one mistake for upcoming producers nowadays is they put zero energy in meeting their peers. Like go just meet, if you meet one person in your city or anywhere that also makes beats, get to know that person, or just like at least keep in touch. Like find a rapper who you like and just start working with them. Like this is what you have to do, guys.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people were saying that too. Sorry to cut you
No,
off, but I remember
go.
even when you brought up like we brought up how Wonder Girl went to the beat battle, and it was somebody that we interviewed that said, "Oh yeah, we met at this beat thing, and we always kept in touch. We used from Canada too, and they would just send each other beats back and forth, and I think that they have worked together now."
Yep.
Based off of that, just them saying, "Hey, you make beats? Okay, I make beats too. All right, cool." It's like people get to like, I don't know. It's so funny. I was talking to my little cousin, and he asked me for some sounds. He was like, he always hits me up like, "Oh, you got the Illmind? Like, can you bless me really quick?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll do you real quick."
Yep.
And he's like, "Yeah, man, I'll be asking my friends, and they don't want to give me these sounds because they say they don't want my shit to like sound like theirs and this and this and that." And I was like, "That's so dumb." And he was like, "Thank you," because he's younger. He's like, "I thought it was just me." Like I was like, "No, it's all about everybody can have the same kit. It's just like it's about like having the same DAWs. Like just like." Everybody's not going to use it the same. So
And Il, to go back what you were saying about, working with L and building with your friends first, and that's. Listen, I want all the listeners right now. If you're a producer, listen to this. If you want to succeed in the world, the first thing you have to do is dominate locally within your town. Then you go the city, then maybe your zip code or whatever. But like you have to win first before you start building outside of locally. And the only way you're going to build outside of locally is through word of mouth or through technology and putting out records. But you got to find people. I mean, it drives me crazy when people say, "Well, I come from a small town, and we don't really have." Come on, bro. That right there drives
we
me
have
crazy.
the internet.
If
that.
You're a new producer, right? And you've been making beats for a couple years, maybe a year, and the beats are good already, right? And you have you have an Instagram, and you have like 42 followers, right? And you post up a video of like a beat on your Instagram, and out of your 42 followers, you get like 4 likes and then 1 comment of some random person who you don't know saying, "Yo, I like that beat." If you don't reply to that person, you fucked up.
Yeah.
Like when you're in the really, really early stages, you need to engage with every single stranger that engages with you. I'm talking about every single one. You get 1 comment or 1 tweet and it's a stranger you don't know and they're complimenting you, you better fucking reply to that person.
You should respond. No, it really matters.
Do you follow them?
Follow them back.
Oh.
Reply, "I appreciate it," is what I would do. Follow back. "Yo, I appreciate it. What do you do?"
Yeah.
What do you do?
Right.
Click on their profile, find out what they do. This is how you fucking network. Like you have to engage. You can't just like, "Oh, okay, cool. I only got 1 like. I want 1,000 likes. How do I do that?"
You know what?
I don't want
Fuck you.
this. Yeah, I was
Fuck you.
like, I don't want this shit.
You know what this reminds me of? This takes me back to like sales, because in sales, you have to engage with the person. They say it's like a minimum of 5 times, like 4 or 5 times that you have to engage with the person. So what that means is,
Yeah, what does that mean?
I met you in person, you didn't buy, you left. I called you the next day, I left you a voicemail, you didn't pick up. A day or 2 goes by, I'll shoot you an email. Hey, what's up? Follow up with you. A couple days later, boop, your phone will ring. Hey, man, listen, I've been a little crazy. Yeah, but I'm here. Listen, I want to follow up with you. Like, they'll calling you. So, like, you have to. So that kind of goes back to what you're saying. What I feel with like in selling, as far as selling your brand on social media, is like, if you just follow your favorite artist, social media, public figure, whoever it is, chef, whatever it is, and you just like a picture, they're probably not going to catch that. Right. You know, but if you like another picture another day, and then maybe you comment on the one picture, or like, you know, you comment on their thing and like it, then after like 3, 4, 5, they might say, oh, who is this? Let me see what this person's profile is. And that's kind of what I'm saying, as far as like, you're selling yourself, but you're not so aggressive, and you're not so like, hi, buy this now. It's just, you're showing that you're out there. I'm here. I follow you. I enjoy, you know, what you're giving us, and that's it. And then it's up to them to
and they're already hitting you up.
Right.
They're already hitting you up.
So it's like, that's that other part of like, hey, yo, listen to my it's like, no, you don't even have that part. They're hitting you like, hey, this is cool.
This is cool.
I like that. And like, it is a true, it's like, I mean, you could call it a tactic, but I mean, it should just be what you do anyway.
Right. It's like real life shit.
It's real life shit, because I was
like
at
this
event.
Hack.
I was at this event, and I walked up on my friends, and this guy was talking to my friends, and he turned around and he was like, oh shit, and he like started like, oh, you're glam and this and that. And then I didn't know who he was, but he said his Instagram name, like, I'm blah 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 blah.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I know who that is, because and then I looked at them, I was like, I respond to everybody, and he was like, he looked at them and he was like, facts. So it made me feel like, okay, that's all right, good. I'm glad that people feel like she responds, and you know, blah blah blah. You don't want to like hit somebody.
And when you get that first moment where like someone recognizes you in person, like, and they're like a fan or something, like, that's very validating. Like, it feels really good.
Very much.
And then you notice like, okay, I'm getting one of those like every 6 months, and then all of a sudden, the following 6 months, it's like 4 people, 1 per month, and you're like, oh shit, okay. I guess my shit's like growing, you know. So that
the more frequent, the better.
Yeah, the more frequent, the better. But it's like, I feel like that's the number one mistake though in the beginning, is like, you just neglect all the few people. Yeah, like, you can't neglect anyone. You can't leave any stones unturned.
I think I probably did that too.
We're all guilty of it.
Yeah, but I didn't recognize the importance. It wasn't that I didn't want to. It was just like, all right, cool. Like, you know, you're just like kind of still like, the internet is definitely not what it was when I started. So it's just like having to incorporate that. It's different. It's different.
Exactly.
You know what's funny is, because, you know, like, we've had it happen to us where we might be in a different city, East Coast or West Coast, and someone who's a fan of BLAPCHAT's like, oh my God, Atlas the Plug, or Glam, or like Perfection, or Ill, whatever, right? So, you know, because I've had it done to me, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? If it's done like the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not like the needy energy way, but if it's done the right way, it's great. And because I've had it done to me and I actually enjoyed it, it made me have no shame going up to anyone that I am a fan of.
Yeah.
And I'm really, and I salute them. I'm like, yo, big fan, man. Love your work.
No,
I just want you to know.
Here's what'll happen.
And then they'll be like, oh, thank you. And then it starts convo. And then, boom, I get the contact from the manager.
And then out of every 20 people you do that with, maybe one of them also listens to BLAPCHAT.
Facts. True.
So you never know who you might run into. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, motherfucker, I know you. I love your show.
Yeah.
What's up? What you trying to do?
That happened to me. I had a show. I DJ'd like my first gig, and I was watching these people like vibe in the crowd, and it was a little dry, but there was like a dude in the back like on this couch, and I was like, all right, he's vibing. Look, it's a couple of people vibing. I was like, all right, cool. And then like he was just kind of quiet, and then he came up and he was like, yo, Glam, I've been following you for a long time. I love everything you do.
You got the hand rubbing too.
You
on
the hand
gram.
What do you know?
He was just like, yo, he's giving me the Birdman hand.
Yeah, the Birdman hand. Did you notice?
He's like, I follow you on Instagram. He's like, I watch BLAPCHAT. And I was just like, oh wow.
Yeah.
And he said his Instagram name, recognized his Instagram name.
It's crazy, man.
Like, you meet these people and they're like, real people.
Yeah, and you know, you like, even if you're on Instagram and you have 50 followers, that's 50 people.
Imagine all 50 of those people in your room.
Yeah,
I always do that.
That's 50 people. If you're starting a podcast and you upload it on YouTube, and you get 94 views in a month, that's 94 people that saw your shit.
Imagine them all in the room.
Yeah, man. You leave no stone unturned,
unless
man.
it was one person that watched it that many times, then I can't.
Do they do that though? They do, right? They count them like multiple.
My friend used to be like, I'm gonna give myself a view. Like when he would post his shit, he'd like, give myself one more view.
Right, got you.
Like, all right.
Wow, leave no stone unturned.
No, don't do it.
Right.
All right, guys, you ready to know what time it is?
That time.
We got a special guest here in the building today. Let's give a warm round of applause to Lamont Graves in the building. Of the Graves firm.
Yes, sir.
Yep. And so Lamont is an entertainment attorney, but I'm sure
not
he's
an
also
attorney and a consultant.
Yep. And he also specializes in a lot of things. And earlier when he got here off air, we were talking about just the whole production world and kind of, the mission to try to empower producers out there.
Yes,
obviously, we try our best to do that with this podcast and with the YouTube stuff and everything, drum kits. So, I really want to dig into that. But before we dig into that, why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, how you started, what you do now, and what your company's all about?
Cool. What's up, guys? So,
Can we turn his mic up a little? Preach.
Okay.
You can go a little closer. Yeah,
okay.
go for
Cool.
it.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, cool. So, I have a pretty long and arduous story that I can tell, but I'm going to try to cut it down as much as I can and just get straight to the point. So basically, long story short, I actually started out as a music producer myself back in the early 2000s. Had a couple of records with my partner Ian Davis that actually made it to the radio with a couple artists like Gravez and a few other guys. And what ended up happening is we never really made any money because we didn't know the business. So no fault of anybody's other than ours. We didn't educate ourselves on the business. So with that being said, I created a mission as to where I was going to not allow it to happen to other producers, and I wasn't going to allow it to happen to myself. So fast forward a couple of years, Jahlil Beats, who a lot of people may not know is actually a relative of mine. He's a first cousin.
Nice.
He signs a deal with Rock Nation. And it's a publishing deal with Rock Nation. Big thing to be from our hometown, Chester, PA, and to be able to do something like that is incredible.
Yeah, shout to Jahlil, by the way.
Who
we will get on this show, just to let you guys know. I've already been speaking to him about it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, he signs a deal with Rock Nation Music, and basically my job from that point on was to be in his corner to ensure that he would collect every publishing dollar due to him, that he would be educated on the actual publishing business as much as possible, and that he would be able to kind of maximize his royalty earning potential by just knowing the business.
Yep.
Because unfortunately for a lot of songwriters and producers, and pretty sure you guys know, a lot of them don't know what the publishing business is. They don't even know that it deals with licensing. So what ends up happening is they sign bad deals and they get taken advantage of. So long story short, that's what my company is, and that's what I do. I consult songwriters and producers on the best ways to monetize themselves. I teach them about music publishing, the value of music publishing, the value of actual copyright, and I pretty much help these guys make a lot of money.
I love that.
So
I love that. I mean, we can talk for 3 hours about this because it's so right. So most of our listeners are music creators, music producers. Most of them up and coming. And we've covered a lot of ground on this podcast. But I'm glad we have you, because one thing that we haven't really dug super into was the publishing side and how to monetize and stuff. So let's start with just the up and coming producer, right? So I think right now there's this misconception, or I guess lack of education, in terms of what is that? Anyway, it's fine. We'll cut through it. It's like a fucking saw.
Yeah.
that's what it sounds
like we're going up an elevator or something.
Anyway.
Yeah, it does.
So there's this lack of education in the music producer community in terms of what publishing is and how can I start making some real money. So let's start with what exactly publishing is. Can you just kind of give the short version of what publishing is to a music producer?
Absolutely. So this is something that's very important that all producers should know. A lot of producers hear that, okay, somebody signed to a label, and they think, oh, well, this producer signed to a label, they signed to Sony. But what they don't know is that any time that you have a song that is created, there's two sides of copyright that are generated. You have the sound recording, which is the label side, and then you have the control composition, which deals in publishing. All publishing is somebody licensing your music multiple times to pay you a royalty for them to be able to use your copyright. So what I mean by that is that I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say that you produce a record for a big local artist, okay? Now, you produce this record for this big local artist and you control at least 50% of the copyright on the controlled composition side because there are no co-producers, okay? So with that being said, anytime somebody wants to listen to that record, anytime somebody wants to play it on Tidal, Apple Music, Spotify, on the radio, they have to pay you a fee. Okay, what ends up happening in how producers make a lot of money in the publishing business and how songwriters make a lot of money in the publishing business is that these fees begin to add up astronomically. You don't know whether or not somebody in Bangladesh is playing the song. You don't know about the kid in Oakland, California playing the song, but Ascap and BMI and other societies and companies that are out there that have been created to collect your royalties, they have systems in place to be able to know anytime your music is licensed. So one song can generate thousands of licenses, and those thousands of licenses translate into publishing income for you. So simply, it's basically the right for somebody to use your copyright. Since it's your intellectual property, since it's your beat, and since you own it, guess what? Somebody has to pay you to be able to use it. So a lot of producers and songwriters don't understand that fundamental definition. You know, they just know that, oh, I'm supposed to make money, but they don't know about the intricate details that help them make money.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Right.
So if I'm an upcoming producer, I just made a dope track. I want to put it out. In your opinion, in simplest form, like to cover yourself, what's the next step? Like, what do I do?
Okay. So here's the thing about copyright and beats that you email to people and, you know, instrumental albums. To be honest, if somebody's going to steal your stuff, they're going to steal it. Let's just be honest about it. Sampling. Okay?
We were just talking about that.
We were. I love this conversation.
There's nothing you can do about it. I can't. You know how much copyright infringement happens every day on YouTube, Instagram, and all these SoundCloud. You can't stop it. Okay, but what you can do is you can make sure that you earn from it. Okay, and the way that you earn from it is through ensuring that you know the music publishing business. Okay, now let's go back to protecting yourself and what you just mentioned. All right, I'm a producer and I'm emailing beats, right? There are ways that you can protect yourself in terms of, you know, tagging, leaving a specific sound or a tag in that track, but not over tagging your beat, but making that tag an actual part of the beat where it sounds cool. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So somebody knows it's you. All right. You can put a disclaimer in your email saying that this material is copywritten, but still, at the end of the day, it's not going to prevent anybody from stealing it. So once you know exactly, let's say that you send that beat out, and let's say that it ends up being utilized, and let's say that an artist uses it. As long as you know what you're privy to in terms of your publishing share, okay, you know that you can put a claim on that record. 9 times out of 10, you have nothing to worry about. I have worked with
Exactly what we said earlier.
Yep, I have producers and songwriters with platinum records right now that come to me for help, and these guys are no different from somebody emailing their beat out that's just starting. They ask me the same questions. You know, I sent this to this artist 2 months ago, and now it's on YouTube. How do I collect from it? Well, you put a claim on it, or you turn those shares into your publisher, and you say, this is the share that's due to me. Being as though there are no co-producers on the record, or if you produce that record and you have fundamental proof that you are the producer of that song, you should be fine. I have not had any particular circumstance where any of the producers that I represent or any of the producers that come to me for help have been placed in a situation where they've had to sue somebody for copyright infringement. Does it happen? Yes, it does, but it happens with bigger records. And for example, families with large resources and lots of lawyer money to go after you. Okay, but every day copyright infringement happens. As soon as you sample something, you're creating copyright infringement. If you take that beat and you upload it on YouTube or do anything with it, you're creating copyright infringement. So it happens all the time. In order for you to get paid, you just need to know the publishing business. Okay, and if you have a great publisher that's representing you, then it's not going to be hard for you to be able to tell that publisher that, hey, I get half of this. And then most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, they'll take care of it from there. So.
Right. So let's talk about the publishing deal. So as a music producer, you work up until you have enough value in publishing of the songs you produce to where a company comes in and says, hey, we want to sign you to our company and sign a publishing deal with you. And there's major label companies, there's independent ones, there's different types of deals like all-in deals, MDRCs, there's admin deals, stuff like that. So the one common misconception, especially if you don't know anything about production, is people get confused with Ascap, BMI, and Sesac as being publishing deals, when it's really two separate things. So why don't you explain to them a little bit about what Ascap, BMI, and Sesac is, and what their function is, and the difference between that, or the difference between a PRO and an actual publishing deal.
Absolutely. That's a good question. It's actually a question that I receive a lot on consultations, is that I'll ask a producer, I'll say, hey, who's your publishing entity? And they'll say Ascap. And I'm like, no, that's a performance rights society that has been created to collect your performance royalties. And they're like, okay, what is that? So basically, this is all it is. ASCAP and BMI and Sesac, they all do one thing. They collect performance right royalties. So, like I said earlier, with music publishing and different licenses, all ASCAP, BMI, and Sesac do is collect a particular license called a performance right royalty. And these are generated anytime you pick up your phone and you go to Tidal and you play a song. Anytime you hop in your car and you're listening to the top 10, hottest songs that they have on the radio and they're going through their playlist, that royalty is created that way. Anytime that music is synced with any type of video where you can watch it on TV, online, YouTube, it doesn't matter. As long as it's publicly performed, or that you could publicly perform it, it's a performance right royalty. So it's all around us. Performance rights royalties and licenses happen all around us all the time. So what you do as a songwriter and a producer, in order to be able to collect these royalties, you need a company with the resources that ASCAP, BMI, and Sesac have to be able to collect all those different streams and plays from all over the world and pay you a check for it. So that's one royalty, and that's one type of royalty that the music publishing business pays you. Where the issue is that a lot of producers and songwriters have no idea or no clue about the other publishers outside of that, and other types of forms of publishing and licenses outside of what ASCAP and BMI do, because that's what we hear every day. Yep. If you have any type of basic knowledge of music licensing, the first thing you hear is, did you sign up with ASCAP, BMI? Did you sign, are you with Sesac? You can't get into Sesac unless you're invited. But with ASCAP and BMI, Sesac writer right there.
Yeah.
Huh? Okay, that's great. With that being said, anybody can sign up with ASCAP and BMI, and that's why it's so easy and accessible to people. Not everybody can sign $1 million publishing deal, Yep. So with that being said, just so you guys that are listening to this know, when you're signing up for ASCAP and BMI, you're leaving, if that's the only entity that you have collecting your royalties, you're leaving at least 60 to 70% of the other types of publishing income off the table, unless you're a sync-heavy producer, which sync is normally paid out through the PROs because it's a performance. So with that being said, guys, it doesn't stop at ASCAP and BMI. So I can hop into the others unless you want to kind of interject.
No, please go into the others. I'm curious. Go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So Illmind had mentioned different types of publishing deals. Okay. He talked about he stated I think you got the work for hires, you have your admin deals, you have your co-pub deals,
MDRC.
So basically, all of these things, the only thing that they are is they're entities set up to collect the other 70 to 60% of royalties and licenses that are due to you as a producer. Mm-hmm. You can make a pretty good living if you get enough placements in a year and enough syncs in a year. You can make a pretty good living just with ASCAP or BMI, but that's the equivalent of working a job for 80 hours a week and walking home with only 30% of your check. You don't want to be, you're not going to work at McDonald's and work 80 hours and walk away with $50 in your pocket. Yep. You would be highly upset. So guess what? Now you got to get that other half of the money. So this is where it gets really confusing for a lot of songwriters and producers. It's a daunting thing to think about, because they're like, well, people are, once you reach a certain level and you get a certain amount of placements, people are going to be reaching out to you left and right. But here's the thing. You don't have to wait to get started in the music publishing business, and you don't have to wait to have a publishing company collect your publishing for you. So that's where I'll kind of break down the different types of publishing deals that are out there. So the first one, and the most standard one that happens a lot in the music industry for songwriters and producers with great placements, it's something called a co-publishing deal. And basically, all a co-publishing deal is that your side of the copyright gets split in half between you and your co-publisher. So that means that the publishing company, if you own 50% of a record, the publishing company comes in and they own half of it. Then they also become something called your administrator. And what that means is that this company they also have the responsibility to collect all the many different forms of publishing out there for you as well. So in addition to giving up half of your copyright, you end up in a position where they make the decision for you on certain types of deals, like sync licensing deals, where they have to like negotiate fees. They'll basically do everything for you, but you do this in exchange for an advance. 9 times out of 10, there's some type of advance associated with this, and you do it in exchange for losing at least half of your copyright. Now, with that being said, producers get taken advantage of all the time in co-publishing deals, because sometimes a producer will sign a co-publishing deal as a part of a producer agreement or a production agreement with a label or some type of entity that has a publishing company set up to be able to collect the producer who doesn't know the publishing businesses publishing. So with that being said, co-production deals are all over the industry. Are they good? It depends. It depends on what you do and how you how the deal is structured and how you go about after you sign in that deal, what you do afterwards. I have producers that I represent that are in co-publishing deals, and they make a great living because we've been able to maximize their royalty earning potential. Outside of that, we know all about the other royalties that are due to them, and they're able to still get paid, and they're able to get through their deals quicker than any other producer because we know how to kind of recoup the money that's part of their advance that they have to pay back to the publisher.
Now, is there a lower level deal too, like an admin deal of some sort with no advance attached to that?
Yes.
So how does that work?
Yes. So the next type of deal that you could do, and one of my favorite deals, is an administration deal. It basically, all it is you allow a company with the resources to be able to collect your publishing for you in exchange for maybe like a 10% fee. Sometimes I've seen it be 30%, but in any event, what ends up happening is you get to retain your copyright, which is one of the most valuable things you have as a songwriter and a producer. Your copyright is everything. Just so you guys out there listening know, your copyright is everything. Protect it with your life. So even if you do a co-pub deal, at least know that there's still value in your half of the copyright. So with that being said, an administration deal is just going to allow a publisher to be able to collect all the different forms of publishing for you. They're going to take their fee, and then they're going to pay you. Okay, they're either going to pay you biannually or they're going to pay you quarterly, all depending on that publishing administration entity. With that being said, anybody can sign up with a publishing administration entity because there are many of them online now that allow songwriters and producers to go to the website and simply sign up with it. And they're going to collect the same.
You guys heard that?
Yep, you hear that? So
you hear that? See, a lot
Where's
of people
the bomb
don't know
on that? We need to drop the bomb on that.
Okay, I'll do that. Ready? Wait,
Drop
I'll
the
do one better because my man Lamont kicked my ass in Street Fighter.
Hey,
my first loss.
Hey, Jahlil, Dre, Jamar, and everybody else actually Dre, he bet money on me in Street Fighter, and I made him a lot of money that day. But you guys hear that, right? Guess who was the Street Fighter champion today?
Next time we get Jahlil in here, we're gonna have to do that in the B room.
Do it.
Absolutely.
I have a question for you, and I get this a lot, and I hear it a lot on, especially on being in the industry. Is producers always say to artists, "I make you this beat, and then you go and you can go perform it and make money on shows, but I don't make shit." Is there a way to protect producers as far as like an artist going out and performing a record? Is there anything
there actually is, and a lot of people don't know about this, is that if you're able to obtain a set list of that venue wherever that artist is performing, you upload that into Ascap and BMI.
It goes towards the
performance royalties.
Amazing.
A lot of producers and songwriters have no idea about that.
They don't even think about that.
They don't even think about it. So if somebody's going to take your beat and they're going to go and perform it, at least you want to get paid something from it. Unfortunately, the industry is kind of skewed against producers and songwriters that don't know the business. So there's really not much you can do about somebody taking your beat and making $50,000 off of it, instead of just trying to work on maximizing your royalty income. That's the only way you're going to be able to offset it. So at least get paid off those public performances from those artists. So if somebody's going to take your beat and they're going to perform it at a venue, you need to know where that venue is, and you need to take that set list and you need to upload it to your Performance Rights Society.
That's interesting too. And one thing I want to jump real quick is, we talk about on the show all the time is producers grabbing the bag too early. And it's disappointing, isn't it? Yep. I know,
man,
right?
I hate it.
Can we talk about that? Your upcoming producer, some Joe Schmo Publishing, who has Elvis's fucking back catalog, is offering you $1,500.
No offense to the one who does,
which is great. $1,500. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To offer me a pub deal. Let's talk about grabbing the bag too early. Can we do that?
Oh man, it's the biggest mistake that songwriters and producers make. You got young guys fresh out of high school that get lucky and they get a hit record, and then next thing you know, somebody who claims to know somebody or somebody that does know somebody seizes the opportunity to play off the ignorance. The young producer doesn't have the money to pay an attorney. All they hear is $35,000, $50,000, $100,000, and they sign. And then what ends up happening is 5 years later, they inbox me or DM me and say, hey, I did all these records. Can you help me get paid? Don't be that guy DMing me asking me to help you get paid. Be the producer that's smart. And luckily, and it's a blessing that all the producers that I help listen to me and they're able to really see the results of what I tell people. They see that Jahlil Beats brought a sneaker store in downtown Chester in our hometown. They see the actual fruits of me educating these guys and them actually listening, which is much more valuable than you taking $100,000 up front. So let me tell you what's going to happen with your $100,000. And me and Illmind kind of talked about this. I think after we finish our Street Fighter game, is that $100,000, there's so much that gets taken from that. Okay, not only that, a traditional publishing deal isn't just going to pay you $100,000 up front. Okay, so if you hear somebody say, I signed a $200,000 publishing deal, and they act all high and mighty like they're, God's gift to the earth, just give them a pat on the back and wish them the good luck.
Wish them the best.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen with that $250,000. That $250,000 gets split in so many different ways that $250,000 gets split. And by the time you're left with anything, you're probably left with maybe $35,000. And the reason that is because the way traditional publishing deals are structured is that there are different terms. So your entire deal may be worth $250,000. And then there's something called option periods. So if you sign the deal, let's say that there's something called the initial option period. So as soon as you sign your name on that piece of paper, they say, all right, well, out of this $250,000, we're going to give you $50,000. Okay, you sign off, you get $50,000. You're like, yes, I have $50,000. Now let's talk about Uncle Sam. Okay, Uncle Sam needs his 30%. Yep. Okay, all right. So
now you're down to
what is that?
$35,000?
Yep, down to $35,000. If you have a manager, guess what? They've been licking their chops. They know what's coming. They're like, listen, this kid is hot. But guess what? They take their percentage. And if you don't have a W-9 form to prove that person took anything from you, then guess what? Somebody took taxable income. From you. From you. And they may not ever claim it on their taxes.
Let's assume they didn't take the taxable income. So now you're down to $28,000, $25,000.
Yep.
So pretty much half.
Yeah, but then you got your entertainment lawyer.
Yep. Oh yeah, don't forget about.
They might take 5%.
They will. What you'll see in your deal is the law firm of so and so, is going to retain $15,000 out of your deal, which I've seen happen a lot. I've seen $25,000. I've seen $30,000 being taken out of deals. And what ends up happening is that, guess what? That $250,000 gets knocked down to maybe $25,000, $20,000. And that's what you have to live off of as a musician.
Until your next option period.
Yep, until your next option period.
Which could be more than a year.
Which could be more than a year.
Or 3.
Or it could be what I've seen with the older traditional co-pub deals is that some guys never reach their next option period.
Which takes me into my next point, Mdrc.
Okay.
Which I don't want to go too deep today, but let's talk about, what is it? Minimum delivery requirement commitment.
Yep.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
So basically, guys, this is what a Mdrc is. A lot of the older traditional publishing deals had Mdrcs built into them, and what they are is they're pretty much a way to let you never get out your deal. So with that being said, let's say that your Mdrc says that you have to produce a certain amount of songs to receive a point towards 3.0. Okay, so what that means is that each song, instead of let's say one song you think is going to be 1, but it's not, it actually becomes 0.50. Okay, now 0.50, that amount of times has to reach 3. Okay, so with that being said, a lot of times producers use co-producers, so your 0.50 gets knocked down to 0.25. If you sample, guess what? That gets knocked down to 0.0225 or something like that, or 0.010 or 0.10. And then what ends up happening is it takes you forever to continue to get album placements to fulfill that MDRC. Now, also, let's talk about the type of records that count towards the MDRC. Not everything counts, okay? So it doesn't matter what type of record it is, whether it's a single, if it's on a mixtape, if it's on a compilation, if it's on any type of novelty album, gospel albums, Kids Bop, doesn't matter. Guess what? It's not going to count towards your deal. So it could be the biggest hit record of your career, and it may be the only hit record of your career. And if as long as it's on that mixtape, it's not going to count towards your deal. So whatever that little bit of money that you have left over that's supposed to be released as a result of you fulfilling your contract and fulfilling your MDRC, you'll never see it. What you would see, luckily, if you can recoup, is maybe 50% of your publishing income after your publisher retains their share. So.
Yep. Yeah, so it's really just designed to keep you as long as possible, because basically the publishing company, the longer they have you, the more they can collect over a longer period of time, the more money they can make off of you.
Because of that, do you think it's better for up-and-coming producers to just put out their stuff on DistroKid or on TuneCore under their, Joe Schmo record label and just build their catalog, and put it on all these platforms
let me tell you something.
So that people will come to them down the road?
Listen, all of the producers that have, a lot of these guys that are helped, that have big deals, would kill to get out of their deals right now if they could just do an administration deal. If only they knew that half their money would be gone. If only they knew that they would never be able to fulfill this MDRC. If only they knew they would be doing all the work and that somebody else would be taking more than half, they would wait and sign an administration deal. So all you guys that are lucky enough not to have deals and have placements, some of you probably feel as though, I'm in a bad place. I have all these placements and I have nothing to show for it. Guess what? As long as you align yourself with a great publishing administration company, 9 months later, maybe a year later, you're looking at a nice fat check. And guess what? You own your copyright, and it all belongs to you. Somebody's only taking 10%. Then the terms on the administration deal may say that you may be in contract for 3 years. Traditionally, with CoPub, we're talking 5 years. And then not only that, after you're out your deal, if you're lucky enough to get out your deal, they can retain the copyright ownership share for at least
another 5 or
10
20
years.
That little sunset clause.
Yep. I've seen 20 years. I've seen 10 years. So you never really own what you own and what belongs to you.
And listen, guys, put it this way: there's publishing deals are not bad. There's bad publishing deals, and there's good ones as well. Right. But I think, and let me know if you agree with me, Lamont. I think the way you sort of have to think of a publishing deal is the more money I take up front, I'm going to have to pay for. So it's really just ends up being a loan. And that's why, in theory, an administrative type of publishing deal kind of is the safest and works best, because if you have publishing value, that money will come to you. You've already made that money.
Absolutely.
You don't know
but
it.
you just will receive it a little bit slower and over more time.
Right.
The advance is really just money now that you've already earned. Except that you're making significantly less because they're just gonna probably rape you.
Yeah, and I forget what the number is. When you get an advance from a pub, I believe it's like 25% of what they think they can make out of you, or something like that.
No, it's basically in Lamont.
What's the number?
This is kind of what I was told
for hearsay.
Yeah, let's say you get offered a publishing deal of $100,000. The publishing company already made an assessment that you're already worth $100,000. So, or no, I think it's $200,000.
Yeah,
so double the amount.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
So in signing you, they've already recouped.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And not only that, remember that you have to recoup against your share.
Against your share. Against your share.
So meanwhile, the publishing company is continuing to make money. They're going to make money no
Hence
matter
why
what.
an MDRC is so fucked up, but so genius.
It is,
man. It's a great game, and whoever figured it out and whoever thought about it, as a businessman, hats off to him. But you just got to educate yourself. That when you educate yourself on this stuff, it'll change your mind and it'll change your career. And that's all you have to do. If you sign a bad contract, guys, it's not the end of the world. But there are ways to get through bad contracts. So even if you never fulfill your MDRC, if you can get to a recoup status, at least you'll be making money somehow, some way. You know, so it's not the end of the world. Like I said, I do have producers that I help that have major deals, and that we have been able to get them to be able to recoup those advances that they received when they initially signed, and they're sitting back and they're chilling and they're enjoying their money that comes in every quarter or every half a year.
Amazing. So if there's a producer that's listening to this episode and they want to inquire with you about that, is this like a public thing, or is it like, are you very choosy with this?
So let me talk about that. So initially, when I first started this thing, like I said, the initial goal was to help a select few producers understand the publishing business, because like I said, you know, the deals are out there, and I'm not going to badmouth any company point blank period, because you sign what you sign. So with that being said, you just have to educate yourself on the business. So I've worked initially with only producers and songwriters with like Grammy nominations, platinum, gold selling. And then I had an epiphany in late December that, hey, this stuff needs to be public. Okay, I'll tell you, it's been the best decision that I've made in terms of the company and what we offer, because the immense amount of support and the immense amount of people that email us every day for consultations and, you know, contact me via DM and just want to learn what we do or get a consultation is just astronomical. And it wouldn't be that way if we didn't offer it to the general public. You know, I didn't want to be that guy that felt like I was on some high horse and, you know, felt like I was high and mighty above the average producer or bedroom producer, because everybody starts out in the bedroom. In my opinion, nobody's better than anybody. So there's no reason why, you know, I'll work with a producer with a gold and platinum record and not work with a guy that has immense potential. You know, because that guy with the immense potential is practically that guy with the gold and platinum records was that guy with the immense potential. Of
course.
You know, and it's really helping save people's lives, and you know, and that's what I would want to be remembered for more than anything, more than money or anything like that. You know, educating people.
It's funny. It's funny when you educate and when you give back out of passion, the universe chooses to pay you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's a fact.
You know,
absolutely.
Because when you don't do it for the money, you start making more of it.
Absolutely.
It's very
absolutely
bizarre.
Yeah, and absolutely. And it's funny that you mention that, because when I first started it, I didn't want any money. I just wanted to help somebody, you know, and it kind of snowballed into something much, much more than that, which has led to, you know, me having relationships with some of the biggest executives in the music industry who feel the same way. Surprisingly, you know, you'll be shocked at how many people actually feel the exact same way, you know, that you do about the current state of the music industry and music producers and songwriters. And some of these guys work at some of the best publishers in the business. So it's not just me, you know, I just felt as though somebody on the inside, and like you, Illmind, you know, speaking to songwriters and producers, I felt like somebody needed to speak up on the business end, because this is how you guys are going to get paid. And this is what's going to pay your mortgage. This is what's going to send your kids to college. You know, this is what's going to help you buy your first house, you know. And if you know it well, and you just, let's say that even if you just know the fundamental basics of it, you can literally build an empire with it. It's that important. It's the reason why these billion-dollar companies exist. It's because they know it. You know, it's time for you guys to know it too. And here's the other thing about it. There's enough money for everybody.
There's more than enough money for everybody.
More than enough for
everybody.
Such
I will,
a fact.
because we ran out of time, but I will say, just to add on to that and kind of end it off, and I'm going to quote this from Dr. Dre and from my man Royce the 5'9". Money is very easy to make, but very difficult to keep.
Absolutely.
So the trick to this whole shit is to make the money and to fucking keep it. Because it's really hard to keep. If you can keep the money, you're good. What? I
was waiting for the
Thank you, Jay.
Yo, listen, Lamont. First off, thank you, man, so much for being on the show today. Like, I know we can go on for at least 4 weeks straight.
Guys. We can.
Real quick before we go though, because we're gonna wrap. Tell people where they could find you. To tell your social media. How can people reach out to you? If I'm an upcoming producer and I need your services, how can I reach you?
So the best way to reach us right now, because right now this guy right here that's with me right now, Hassan Jackson, he's helping me develop the actual Graves Firm website. Like I said before, you had to get to know somebody to get to know me. So now we're done with that. So the best way to find me is through Instagram, Lamont_Tandem. And Tandem is actually the record label myself and Jahlil Beats and our other partners started. So that's the best way to find me.
How do you spell Tandem?
TANDEM.
So it's Lamont, LAMONT _Tandem.
Yep.
Lamont Tandem.
Yep. So, couple shout out Rock Nation.
Shout out Rock Nation.
Who gave Jahlil his chance, which is has been a complete blessing.
Yep. Shout out to Jahlil, man.
Shout out to Jahlil, man.
Shout out to Jahlil, man.
You guys got to come back with Jahlil, man.
Oh, absolutely. I got the Beat Bully too, his little brother who did Dreams and Nightmares from Meek.
Yep.
Man, I got so many. So, shout out to all the producers out there, first and foremost. You guys that are listening to this and wondering if you can make it in the industry, you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it. That's just get to it. That's all you got to do.
Facts. 1000% facts.
Factory.
Factory. Let's give
a warm
factory.
Oh,
Let's give a warm round of applause for Lamont Graves. Shout to Tandem.
Absolutely.
Tandem.
Yes, sir.
Educating
BLAPCHAT.
one producer at a time.
Get it.
Let's go.
Yes, sir.
We'll see y'all beautiful people next week. Make sure you subscribe to us, and we'll talk soon. Peace.
All right.
Peace.